key. Four 16 advised on shots fired, 1400 Southwest 10th Street. Any available units go to east, officer down.
It was a day like any other, but this would be my last. I kissed my wife and my children, but it all went by so fast. I always knew that this could happen, but never dreamed I'd take a fall. And I know now that this is over, I was supposed to take that call. But don't waste your tears on me. The sacrifice I made tonight is my responsibility. You can't afford to question why. Stand together, side by side, and say goodbye. I was proud to wear this uniform, and proud to bear this shield. And the honor to defend all those in need is what I knew I'd always
I want you to just take a moment, and you may know one of them personally or you know about them. I just want you to take a moment, and I want you to just envision them in your mind right now. The face, maybe an amazing memory you have as a family member. Thank the Lord that we get to today remember what a gift it was of their lives and how we got to be part of them.
Thank you for all that have contributed and worked tirelessly on today's memorial, and those that have dedicated this evening to joining us in recognizing our 13 fallen heroes of the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our survivors, our families of our Sullivan County Sheriff's Office, our brothers and heroes, and for their sacrifice as husbands, wives, children, grandchildren. Your support for these brave officers encouraged them and helped them through a difficult and dangerous career. And know we mourn with you and our nation mourns with you. For our beloved officers risked their lives protecting others. Again, thank you and God bless our keynote speaker, Bud Olson.
These men gave their life defending and preserving order. I'm very, very grateful for that. Not just the men we honor here, but all the rest of it. I'm grateful for it. It is a worthy battle to always defend order. God bless the memory of these men. And God bless you.
just be strong and carry on. It's not your responsibility. You've all had time enough to cry. Just stand together, side by side. Stand together, stand with pride, and say goodbye. was a day like any other, but this would be my last.
I'm Jeff Long, Commissioner of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security. I want to take a moment during this National Police Week to speak directly to you and to the families who stand beside you. This is a time of remembrance, a time of reflection, and a time to reaffirm our gratitude for the service you give each and every day. We are especially mindful of the brotherhood of 22 law enforcement families in this region who have experienced the ultimate loss. These are mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, sons, and daughters whose loved one answered the call but never came home. To those families, we remember your sacrifice, and we will carry your loved one's legacy forward with honor and with purpose. Your pain is not forgotten. Your strength humbles us. You remain part of our law enforcement family forever. To every officer still serving, whether you wear the uniform or serve in support roles, you are seen, you're appreciated, and you are making a difference. I pray that you feel the strength of the community behind you, you respect your fellow Tennesseans beside you, and the peace of God with you. On behalf of the Department of Safety and Homeland Security, thank you. May God bless you, may He protect you, and may He continue to guide your steps.
It is a pleasure for me and honor for me to stand in front of you all tonight. My name is Joey Strickler. I'm a retired captain with the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office, serving over 30 years. It was an honor to be able to serve with the finest law enforcement officers in Tennessee. And it's an honor to stand before Bristol, Tennessee, Kingsport, the Highway Patrol, TBI, folks that I've worked with many, many times in those 30 years. I wrote a song called You Were There. And folks, I just want to say something about that song. I wrote that song because 9 names on the wall at the sheriff's office I worked with. And for you Bristol folks, I was called that night when Mark was killed by that coward. I went with the TBI to work that scene. I often have asked why. Why would something like this ever happen? Last year, when Chief Cottrell asked me to sing at the memorial, I reflected on why things happen the way they do. You see, I can take you to every location in Sullivan County that those 9 officers gave the ultimate sacrifice. I can take you to those 2 locations in Lynn Garden. I can take you to that road up at Hickory Tree. I can take you to the place on Interstate 81. I can take you to that place on New Beesonwell Road. I can take you to Highway 394 and 11W. And I can take you to that hospital. And yes, I can take you to the place in Bristol. And I've often asked, why? Why would something like this ever happen? And I prayed about it. You see, I couldn't have done this job for 30 years without my Lord and Savior. And as I was thinking about this song before I wrote it, I kept thinking about what our Bible says, that He will never leave us or forsake us. Yes, in those locations, He never did leave or forsake. This song is for my brothers. He told his wife goodbye, and he hugged his children tight. Stepped into his car, it's just another night. Blessed are the peacemakers, take to his dash, praying that the ship won't be his last. The radio cracks that all familiar sound. The nightmare begins, another officer's down. You were there in the middle of that fight, guiding him in the dark of the night. You were there when the death angel came. Earth's loss was heaven's gain. You were there, never leaving him alone. You were there to carry him home. You were there, oh God, you were there. A broken mother cries, and another's heart breaks. One more headline in the middle of the page. 21 guns and amazing grace. Blue lights and taps, tears on our face. A folded flag with the badge of steel. Hero's love and a father's will. You were there in the middle of that fight, guiding him in the dark of the night. You were there when the death angel came. Earth's loss was heaven's gain. You were there, never leaving him alone. You were there to carry him home. You were there, oh God, you were there. You bore the cross and took those nails, the sins of the world, and conquered hell. The love you showed, we don't know why. Your life for ours is why you died. An empty tomb is all that's left. Praise your name for the promises kept. You were there, oh God, you were there. Now you were there in the middle of that fight, guiding him in the dark of the night. You were there when the death angel came. Earth's loss was heaven's gain. You were there, never leaving him alone. You were there to carry him home. You were there, oh God, you were there. Yes, you were there, oh God, you were there.
Tennessee State Senator Bobby Harshbarger. You know, I was looking down the program and I noticed that I was a dual guest speaker this evening. So I thought for a split second that I might be able to arm wrestle the mayor for just a little bit more time. But I figured that was a losing battle. So I'm going to make my statements brief. Today we honor the men and women who stood between danger and safety, chaos and peace. Their sacrifice speaks to a calling few are willing to answer, and their courage leaves a legacy we must carry forward. As Psalm chapter 82, verse 3 and 4 reminds us, defend the weak and the fatherless, uphold the cause of the poor and the oppressed, rescue the weak and the needy, and deliver them from the hand of the wicked. These officers did just that. Though they are no longer with us, their service lives on in the lives that they protected and the communities they made stronger. And may we always remember them, not just in grief, but in gratitude. Their loss is felt deeply, not only by their families and fellow officers, but by every citizen who rests a little easier because of their dedication. Behind each badge was a heart full of service, a voice that brought calm, and hands ready to help. As a community, we must carry their torch by lifting up their loved ones, standing firm for justice, and renewing our commitment to unity and compassion. May their bravery inspire us to lead lives of purpose, and may we always be a place that remembers and reverses those who gave the line of duty. So the one thing I've learned in my very short stint in public office is oftentimes public officials will try our hardest. Our desire is to legislate morality. But in reality, that's a losing battle. It all starts in the home. And the one thing that I've realized is that there's not a law on the books that is going to keep someone with evil in their heart from trying to commit a crime. And you fill that gap. And those who have given the ultimate sacrifice have filled that gap. And I just want to say I thank you, I thank you, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs.
It is an honor to be here tonight, but despite good company, because of the nature of this event, I think I speak for everyone when I say I'm not particularly happy to be here. When we read about tragedy that happens other places, we think, man, that's terrible, but it doesn't hit us viscerally because it doesn't happen to our people and it doesn't happen in our home. Man, when it does, it is a gut punch. On October 2nd, 2023, I got a phone call that no one ever wants to receive. Deputies from the Knox County Sheriff's Office had responded to a domestic call in the Hardin Valley area, which is deep West Knox County. And we all know that domestic calls are often the most volatile and potentially the most dangerous. That night, a man who we later learned was suicidal barricaded himself in a closet with a rifle. When our deputies entered the room, they indiscriminately opened fire. One of our deputies returned fire, killing him. The other deputy was unable to return fire because he had been mortally wounded as soon as he walked through the doorway. Compound things, about 4 months later, our friends and neighbors in Blount County Sheriff's Office had a tragedy of their own when Officer Greg McCowan was killed and his partner shot and seriously injured during a routine traffic stop. But obviously I'm much closer to the events in Knox County. As I see it, October 1st, 2023 claimed numerous victims. Yes, one of those was the man who murdered our deputy. It was an evil, unthinkable, unforgivable act. We now know that he suffered from some serious mental health issues. And if he'd only gotten help, that wouldn't have happened. Another victim was the officer who killed him. He responded appropriately and according to his training. It was textbook. He is a hero. But no matter the circumstances or the justification, taking a human life is a terrible burden to have to bear. And then, of course, there's our deputy who was killed. His name was Tucker Blakely. And if things could possibly get worse, they did. He was 29 years old. And that was his last shift on patrol. He had recently qualified as a canine officer and had already been assigned his dog. I will never forget many of the things about that incident and the aftermath. One of the things I'll never forget is how our community rallied together and how people from around the country reached out, offered sympathy, and just, it was unbelievable. And I thought to myself, why is it always only in tragedy that we act like this, that we treat each other a little more kindly, with more patience and compassion? Why can't we be like this all the time? I will never forget Tucker's memorial. It was beautiful. I'll never forget driving to the church. Hundreds of people lining the roadway. Never forget pulling in the parking lot. It was one of those times when I paid to be mayor, because otherwise I would have got a parking spot. It was absolutely jammed. Never forget walking up to the church and seeing officers there. Hundreds. From as far away as New York City. I was given a challenge coin from the Chicago PD Honor Guard. I'll never forget being in that sanctuary and just, it was packed. Most of all, I'll never forget Tucker, man, that I had met only in passing. When I asked his colleagues what kind of guy Tucker Blakely said, to a person, every one of them said, man, he was just the best. He was always smiling, and if you see any pictures of him, he does. He always has this goofy grin on his face. Just a great person. He had chosen a life of service. Even at his young age, he was already an Army veteran. And even in death, his last act was that of service. He was an organ donor. And because of his passing, other people are alive today. I'll never forget his family. It's a coincidence that his wife, Katarina, called me today. She's in Washington, D.C. for National Police Officers Week. And she was telling me that she was there with children of a fallen deputy from Meigs County, and they couldn't believe that she knew Kane. She was there with her and Tucker's now 7-year-old son, Henry, she calls him. I'll never forget at Tucker's memorial, I was holding things together pretty well. And when I saw Penny, I about lost it. He and his mom were walking into the sanctuary. He was holding her hand, and he was kind of skipping. He didn't know what was going on. He had these ridiculous red tennis shoes. He was also wearing his dad's dress hat. How do you tell that little boy that his daddy, his hero, his best friend, ain't never come home? It's my job to be good with words, but I'm relieved that that is not my duty. But as uncomfortable as these memories are for me, I cannot imagine what they're like for the brothers and sisters of the fallen, much less their families. But events like this are good because we have to remember. We can't forget. We have to remember who they were, and we have to remember why they are no longer with us. They died in service to their fellow human beings. They died trying to make their corner of the world a better place. And there is no more noble endeavor than that. Thank you.